There are individuals who resonate at a higher frequency, and they exhibit three unmistakable signs that have absolutely nothing to do with reciting positive mantras or engaging in trendy spiritual consumerism. These markers aren't things you can achieve through sheer willpower or a weekend retreat. They are energetic truths, phenomena that begin to ripple through your physical body and your external reality. When your inner world achieves a state of profound coherence, it's as if you finally tuned your personal instrument to its perfect pitch, and the orchestra of reality itself has no choice but to respond to your note. What we're about to explore is the practical, observable evidence of what Carl Jung dedicated his life to understanding. The tangible shifts that occur when a person reaches true psychic integration. These three signs aren't esoteric symbols. They are concrete, almost scientific phenomena that show up in your day-to-day life. You're about to learn how to identify them, understand their origins, and see what they reveal about the state of your soul. Because operating from a high vibration isn't a performance for an invisible audience. It is the raw, unfiltered byproduct of radical inner honesty. You may have already felt these shifts, brushing them off as strange luck or even a sign that something was wrong. You might have sensed a fundamental change within you, a difference you couldn't quite articulate. This is your dictionary. This is the deep psychology breakdown of an authentic vibrational signature, and it reveals why these three signs will never appear on a feel-good listicle. They are too potent, too undeniable, and far too inconvenient for the games of the spiritual ego. The first sign is somatic, and it is brutally direct. Your body becomes an unwavering polygraph for your soul. It begins to physically reject anything that is out of alignment with your core truth. This isn't just a vague feeling of being unwell. It's a swift and undeniable physical response to inner dissonance. It could be a sudden, blinding migraine that appears the moment you agree to a project that betrays your values. It might be a wave of debilitating nausea that washes over you as you're about to utter a yes, when every cell in your body is screaming no. Or maybe it's a profound, bone-deep exhaustion that has no medical explanation, appearing only when you spend time in environments or with people who force you to wear a mask. These are not your typical psychosomatic symptoms, which are often the desperate screams of unprocessed trauma. This is something far more advanced. This is your body's innate somatic intelligence coming online. Jung understood that with deep psychic integration, the core self commissions your body to be the ultimate guardian of your authenticity. Your physical form becomes a resonant chamber for your frequency, and it will no longer tolerate dissonance. For a person of high vibration, staying in a career that demands conformity or a relationship that requires self-abandonment triggers genuine physical symptoms. Your body stops reacting merely to stress. It starts reacting to frequency betrayal. Have you ever felt that? That moment you're trying to muscle your way through something out of obligation, fear, or guilt, and your body just shuts down. It's as if your immune system stages a protest before your conscious mind can even begin to rationalize the compromise. This is the phenomenon of physiological rejection. Your energetic signature has become so refined that it can no longer metabolize inauthenticity. The distinction is critical. Neurosis expresses itself in the body because of internal fragmentation and conflict. Vibrational somatic intelligence, however, is born from integration. It arises from a bond between psyche and body so absolute that your organism actively defends your truth. It becomes the physical enforcer of your inner coherence. When that coherence is threatened, the alarm sounds instantly. Those who have developed this sign find they can no longer tell even a small white lie without their throat constricting. They can't remain in meetings where dishonesty is the currency without feeling physically ill. Their body forces them toward truth. It's no longer a moral preference. It has become a biological imperative. Your organism has learned that betraying your frequency generates a static that destabilizes the entire system, and it defends against that corruption with pain, with exhaustion, with whatever it takes to stop you from straying further from yourself. If you've ever had to quit a job because your body was mysteriously falling apart, or end a relationship because you felt sick every time you were with that person, that was not a sign of your weakness. That was a sign of your power. It was your frequency defending its own integrity. That's the first sign, and it is as real as the ground beneath your feet. The second sign is even more unsettling, because it completely dissolves the conventional boundary between your mind and the material world. You begin to experience synchronicity with a density and precision that defies all logic and probability. You're no longer just having a weird coincidence once in a while. You are living in a constant flowing dialogue with reality. You're pondering a highly specific niche question in your mind, and the next person who speaks in the cafe behind you says the exact key phrase you were thinking about. You have a fleeting memory of a childhood friend you haven't seen in 20 years, and you run into their sibling in a different country the very next day. You're struggling with a decision, and a truck drives by with a company slogan on its side that serves as a direct, almost comically blunt piece of advice. It doesn't happen once. It happens daily. It becomes the new texture of your life. Jung theorized that for the vibrationally aligned individual, the causal connecting principle between psyche and reality becomes intensely amplified. This isn't wishful thinking or esoteric fantasy. It is a documented phenomenon that occurs when your consciousness becomes so integrated that the illusion of separation between in here and out there begins to crumble. The universe around you ceases to be a random stage and starts operating as a direct real-time feedback system for your inner state. You are no longer just an observer of events. You are in a conscious partnership with them. The field of your awareness, the collective unconscious, and physical reality itself start to weave together into a single tapestry. This is the point where synchronicity graduates from being a rare novelty to being your native language. You can no longer dismiss it. You can no longer rationalize it as chance, and you are forced to accept the profound responsibility that you are actively participating in the creation of your reality. And this state is deeply uncomfortable. Living in a state of constant synchronicity is a heavy mantle to bear, because you can no longer drift through life passively. Because every fleeting thought, every subtle emotional shift seems to have an immediate external echo. Because you feel the universe listening and responding to your silent intentions, your deepest fears, your unasked questions. You become a conscious co-creator, whether you signed up for it or not. And that means you can no longer hide. You can no longer play the victim. You can no longer pretend that you are powerless. For the high vibration person, these synchronicities are not just pleasant spiritual winks from the cosmos. They are evidence that you are operating on a frequency where your accountability for what shows up in your life has been radically upgraded. Every encounter, every random event, every twist of fate becomes a message, a symbol, an answer to something stirring within you. This is the second sign, and once it begins, it never lets you go. The third sign manifests in the way the world looks back at you, specifically in the reactions of other people. Strangers, in particular, will have powerful, instantaneous, and often inexplicable responses to you. This is the phenomenon of spontaneous polarization. You will walk into a room and without saying a word, some people will treat you with an immediate, unfounded hostility. Their gaze will be cold, their body language closed off, their energy utterly rejecting, even though they know nothing about you. Conversely, others will approach you with a startling degree of warmth and trust. They will open up to you, sharing deeply personal stories within minutes of meeting you as if they've known you their entire life. You haven't done anything to earn either reaction. Your mere presence is the catalyst, Carl Jung observed that psychologically integrated individuals act as an unconscious trigger for the unintegrated parts of others. Your presence becomes a blank screen onto which they project their own inner world. When someone feels an instant surge of hatred toward you, they are not hating you. They are reacting violently to the part of themselves, their own potential, their own light, their own suppressed truth, that your authentic presence mirrors back to them. And when someone feels an instant sense of safety or admiration, they are seeing in you a quality they yearn for but have not yet given themselves permission to embody. You do nothing. You simply are, and that is enough to stir the waters. People with a high vibrational frequency rarely move through the world invisibly. Their energy signature is too defined, too lucid. It provokes visceral responses because it wordlessly exposes the inner dissonance in others. If you find that people are either strongly drawn to you or strongly repelled by you, often before you've even spoken, this is not an indictment of your character. It is a testament to the clarity of your frequency. It either resonates harmonically or it creates uncomfortable dissonance, with very little room for neutrality. The critical question is, how do you distinguish this genuine vibrational input from unconscious, attention-seeking behavior? The difference lies in your intention. If you are consciously or unconsciously performing, adopting a persona to elicit a reaction, then what you receive back is a product of your own neediness. But if you are simply existing, grounded in your own quiet truth, and the reactions come anyway, that is the effect of your frequency. An authentic vibrational presence requires no performance. It simply is, and the world cannot help but react to it. This third sign also means you can no longer hide in the crowd. Your attempts to be a wallflower will fail. People feel your energy before they hear your voice. They are responding to something in you that transcends language. This is not arrogance. It is the simple physics of a frequency that can no longer be camouflaged. So, what do these three signs, the intelligent body, the responsive universe, and the polarizing presence, reveal about your journey of individuation? Jung never saw individuation as a path to flawlessness, but as a path to coherence. A high vibration doesn't make you a saint, it makes you singular. It means you have finally integrated your own paradoxes. You have faced your shadows and recognized them not as enemies to be vanquished, but as estranged parts of your own soul to be welcomed home. This state of profound inner unity, where your ego, your unconscious, and your core self are in open dialogue, generates an energetic signature so coherent that the material world is compelled to respond to it. People who vibrate at this level are not necessarily enlightened or free from doubt, but they have achieved a state of psychological integrity. The civil war inside them has ended. They have accepted their contradictions. They no longer live in a state of inner division, and this unity fundamentally alters their interaction with the energetic field that surrounds them. There is a direct causal link between Jungian individuation and physical manifestation. When you dare to become who you truly are, when you integrate your polarities with unflinching honesty, you emit a frequency so specific that the world has to take notice. Your body begins to enforce your truth. Reality starts to mirror your inner movements, and other people feel the resonance of your presence. These are not New Age concepts. These are the concrete, observable outcomes of psychological wholeness. But the price of this vibrational clarity is immense. You lose the ability to blend in. You can no longer pretend to be someone you're not for the sake of social comfort. Your frequency is too well defined, and it is broadcasting your truth everywhere you go. This can be a lonely path. It can be isolating because not everyone can handle that level of clarity. Not everyone is ready to face what you inadvertently mirror back to them. And these signs are not trophies earned through spiritual practice. They don't arise because you meditated for 1,000 hours or perfected a gratitude journal. They emerge organically from the courageous, messy work of confronting your own inner chaos and choosing to become whole. And right here at the threshold of this new reality lies a trap more perilous than any shadow you've faced before. It is the trap of the spiritual ego, and it is the temptation to see these signs and misinterpret them as proof of your own superiority. It's the subtle poison that makes you feel chosen, special, or more evolved than others. This is not high vibration. In Jungian terms, this is psychic inflation, and it is the antithesis of true integration. He warned against it fiercely. When your contact with these profound energetic phenomena breeds arrogance instead of humility, you have not become whole. You have simply become bloated. How can you tell if you are operating from a place of authentic frequency or just feeding your ego with a new, more sophisticated brand of fuel? Ask yourself this one simple question. Do you use these experiences to feel separate from and better than others? Do you find yourself talking endlessly about how different you are, how deep your connection is? Are you seeking validation for your spiritual progress? If so, you are not in a state of high vibration. You are caught in the web of spiritual narcissism. True vibrational maturity is characterized by its quietness. Genuinely integrated people do not hold press conferences about their synchronicities. They live them. They don't require external validation for their inner state. They know that their frequency is demonstrated through its effects, not through their narrative about it. If you feel a compulsive need to prove you are vibrationally advanced, you are not. Real power requires no advertisement. The distinction is subtle but absolute. Do these signs awaken in you a sense of profound humility before the mystery of existence, or do they foster a sense of superiority over others? Your honest answer reveals exactly where you stand. Psychic inflation is the death of genuine frequency. It happens when you identify with the archetypal energies moving through you, forgetting that you are the vessel, not the source. You are the lens, not the light. As Jung showed, this is the great peril of any spiritual path. The moment you begin to believe you are the power that you wield, you have severed your connection to the self and fallen back into the clutches of the ego, only this time it's an ego adorned with spiritual trophies, no less fragmented, just better disguised. True vibrational maturity reveals itself in simplicity, in the ability to experience these signs without needing to constantly dissect them, label them, or use them as evidence of anything at all. You just live them. Your body protects your truth. Reality mirrors your soul. People react to your presence. This simply becomes your new normal. Not a spiritual achievement, not a mystical peculiarity. It's just the physics of how you now interact with the world, ever since you stopped fighting against yourself. There comes a point in the process of individuation where a fundamental shift occurs. You stop looking for confirmation. You stop trying to interpret every sign. You stop collecting evidence of your own evolution. You realize that a high vibration doesn't need to be named, validated, or understood by anyone else. It simply manifests as the undeniable, concrete texture of your life. And that is enough. Jung might have called this the ultimate return to the self. After the long journey through the shadows, after the integration of opposites, after working through the fragments of the psyche, you arrive back where you started. But you are not the same person. You return as someone who can inhabit their own frequency without the need for constant self-analysis. You live your vibrational quality without thinking about it. It has, at last, simply become who you are. In this phase, the search for spiritual explanations ceases. The synchronicities lose their mystical glamour. They are simply the way the world communicates. Your body's rejection of falsehood becomes normal. The projections of others become expected. You no longer need a spiritual framework to make sense of it. You are simply living it. This is the hallmark of true integration. When the signs stop being signs and simply become your reality. The deepest maturity is found when you are no longer trying to be spiritual. You are no longer trying to be conscious. You are no longer trying to appear vibrationally elevated. You simply are, because there is no other way for you to be. Your inner coherence has made your frequency so non-negotiable that you couldn't abandon it even if you tried. You are, in a sense, trapped in your own truth, or more accurately, you have finally been set free by it. These three signs are not goals to be chased. They are not items on a spiritual checklist. They are simply the natural consequences of staying with yourself long enough, of meeting your own being so completely that no room for inner division remains. When you stop running, stop denying, and stop fighting, something fundamental within you transforms, and that transformation leaves its fingerprints on the material world through these three concrete phenomena. Your body becomes the loyal guardian of your authenticity. It will not let you lie. It protects your frequency with physiological responses that compel you to live in your truth. This is not a concept. It is a physical reality that will redefine your life. You can no longer tolerate environments that demand self-betrayal. Your own biology rebels. The world becomes a living mirror of your inner landscape. Synchronicities cease to be random. They become the constant flowing experience of a reality that is responding to your every psychic tremor. You can no longer be passive. You must accept the responsibility that you are co-creating everything that appears in your life. This is not magic. It is the consequence of a frequency so integrated that the veil between inner and outer worlds has dissolved, and people respond to you before you even speak. Your very existence becomes a projection screen. You activate in others that which lies dormant, their suppressed potential, their unlived dreams, their hidden shadows. You can no longer hide. You cannot go unnoticed. Your frequency is too clear, too defined, too real. This is what high vibration truly means. Not just light and love, not just positive thinking. It means an inner coherence so total that the physical world, your body, your reality, the people around you, responds to it. It is not always pleasant, it is not easy, but it is true. The ultimate question then is not whether you have these signs. The ultimate question is, are you ready to shoulder the immense responsibility that comes with this clarity? Are you ready to live a life where you can no longer look away and are you prepared to acknowledge your role in everything that unfolds before you? Are you willing to bear both the burden and the liberation that comes when you become so vibrationally clear that the world itself must answer to you? This is not a romantic spiritual quest. This is the most radical form of self-encounter there is. And if these words have resonated with you, if you recognize these signs as the landscape of your own life, know that you are not alone. There are others walking this path, inhabiting this clarity, bearing the weight and the freedom that comes with true vibrational coherence. You do not need to speak of it. You do not need to explain it. You need only to inhabit it, with integrity, with silence, and with the humility of one who knows they are a channel for the power, not its source. If this exploration has stirred something within you, subscribe and join a conversation that goes beyond the surface. Share in the comments which of these three signs resonates most powerfully in your life right now. Not to prove anything, but to bear witness. Because that is what we do here. We bear witness to the reality of what happens when a human being stops pretending and finally truly begins to be.